Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to JC Racing, and welcome for the first time on this channel to Rennsport. I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 takeaways that I have made throughout playing the closed beta as it is in its current state right now. And I'm also just going to be talking about a little bit of my thoughts on Rennsport, because I think this game is definitely a very interesting one. Before we get into it though, I will introduce the track and car that we're in. We're of course at the Hockenheimring right now. A fantastic circuit to drive. One of my favorites actually. I really do love the Hockenheimring. And then we are in the Audi R8 GT3 Evo. I love the Audi R8 in ACC, so I thought, well, let's start here with Rennsport. As for the content right now in the closed beta, if you don't have access to it, I'll be honest, you're not missing a ton. We have 4 GT cars and 4 tracks. We have the Audi that I'm in right now, the BMW M4, the Porsche 992 911, and the Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo. And for the tracks, we have the Hockenheimring, the Nürburgring, not the Nordschleife, just of course the regular Nürburgring racetrack, the GP circuit. And then we have Monza and Spa. So not much going on right now in the closed beta, but of course I'm not holding that to Rennsport, and there's going to be more content coming soon. In fact, the Porsche 963 LMDH car has been confirmed coming to Rennsport, I believe, in the fall, and I'm actually super excited for that track. Jacob, learn where your braking points are. But anyway, let's get into my 5 takeaways, and then I'll get into my general thoughts on Rennsport, because I do have some interesting things to say. But first and foremost, I would like to say my first takeaway is that the force feedback feels very good, in my opinion. I think it's very responsive. It does suffer from a little bit of that Assetto Corsa ACC kind of vagueness a tiny bit. It's not as bad as ACC in my opinion. In fact, I think the force feedback, dare I say it, is better feeling. Of course, I still believe that ACC is a better GT3 sim in terms of the way the cars behave, but just in terms of a general feeling through the wheel, I do actually have to say that I prefer Rennsport. And I think that's something that is super, super cool and is a great thing to have this early on. Of course, God, it took ACC 2 years, really, to get its FFB sorted out. So for this game to do it on Unreal Engine 5 right off the bat, it is a very, very cool thing to see. I've driven every car in the game, and they all feel pretty damn good. I will say that some of them do feel a little samey. I think the Audi and the Porsche feel very similar, and the BMW and the Mercedes feel very similar. I mean, I get it, they're both mid-engine. Yes, technically the Porsche's a rear engine, but you know, the engine's farther at the back at the Audi and the Porsche, and the engine's at the front for the Mercedes and the BMW. But you know, I feel like they feel a little bit different, but I feel like it's a pretty routine experience. You know, once you've driven one of the cars from either, you know, the Audi or the BMW, let's say, you've also kind of driven the Porsche and the Mercedes a bit, which is something that I don't like to see and obviously isn't very realistic, but I'm sure there will be more car physics improvements coming very soon. Second takeaway is that the game looks okay. This game, if you don't know, is on Unreal Engine 5, which is the current version of Unreal Engine. ACC is on Unreal Engine 4. Still a fantastic looking engine, but it is the older game, and at least to my eye, I feel like ACC looks a far bit better, actually. This is more of a personal taste thing. For me personally, I think this game is a little bit too blue. It needs to be a little bit warmer for the color temp. I know most people aren't going to care about that. This is at maximum graphics settings, by the way. Ooh, there, Audi. This isn't a huge deal, and it definitely looks far better than iRacing or R-Factor 2 or any of those. So it's still a good-looking game, but just seeing what Unreal Engine 5 can do, you know, I'm probably putting some videos up on screen for you right now. I know this sim does have a little bit of work to do with its graphics, and I think the Rennsport team have pretty much confirmed that they are going to keep working on the graphical fidelity of the game, which is very nice. And I also have to say, as a side note, even though I think the game looks good, I think it could look better with the engine it's on, but the performance is very, very good. I have a 4090, a top-of-the-line CPU. I got a very good PC, and I'm still getting some good FPS. I get about the same as I do in, say, iRacing, and if you want to speak to the optimization of both games, the fact that I get the same performance on iRacing as I do here is, yeah, something very cool. The Rennsport team, you've done a very good job making this game look the way it does, and also perform the way it does. My third takeaway is something that I've, known, but, now playing it definitely and, being a little bit more immersed in the Rennsport world. And I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear. This game isn't just an esports game. Right now, I know that's pretty much all it is. We literally have a damn VRS-sponsored performance window and ESL R1 plastered everywhere. But this game is not just trying to be an esports machine. Of course, there is modability coming to the game, as well as they are putting out content that won't be used in ESL R1 in the closed beta, like the Porsche 963. So I think that's very, very good to see, because I'm certainly not an esports driver. 99.5% of everybody who sim races is not an esports driver. So to have a game that isn't just appealing to the esports crowd, like I think a lot of people feared this one might, is a very good thing. Before we get into my next takeaway though, let's switch over to a different car and track. So here we are in the BMW M4 GT3 at the, of course, always fantastic, legendary, coffin-prepared T1 of Monza. There's no AI right now in Rennsport though, so there won't be any coffins needed. But anyway, for my fourth takeaway, and this one isn't as much of a good one, the sounds need a lot of work. In fact, I'm actually very disappointed with especially the Mercedes-AMG sounds. I think they're genuinely worse than some of the free car mods I've seen in Assetto Corsa. I know this game is in such an early state, but sounds are something I feel like you don't really see get updated very much. Once a car is made, the sounds don't really change, and they just feel, I don't know, especially the AMG. In real life, that thing is raspy, it's loud, it's brutal, but I don't know, in this game, it just feels like it's kind of tinny, like it's been recorded on like a really crappy microphone, and it just sounds kind of like neutered almost. And it's a similar story with this BMW, actually. I think the Porsche and the Audi sound very good. I think it's just the V8s. I know the BMW isn't as raspy as the AMG, but I still feel like, this feels more like a V6 than a V8. I think the sounds, well, sometimes they're objective, they can also be subjective, so yeah, if you think the BMW sounds good and sounds realistic, I think this one is a lot better than the AMG. I don't want to hop into it for this video specifically. I want to drive the cars that I enjoy driving, and it's this BMW and the Audi mainly. But yeah, if you find a video of someone using the AMG, I'm sure you can find it. Listen to it and tell me in the comments if you think it sounds off, because I definitely think it does. So sounds do need a little bit of work in Rennsport. And my final takeaway leads into the discussion that I want to have, and that is that I think Rennsport is coming out at the worst possible time for this game to succeed at all. Let me explain. Right now, currently, and for the foreseeable future, Rennsport's main niche is going to be GT3 racing. They're adding again the 963, which again, very excited for. The game's going to be moddable. It's going to have other content besides GT3s. However, through its professional view through ESLR1, as well as the core Rennsport content for the foreseeable future will be mostly made up of GT3 cars. And we already have a GT3 sim that is very good. It's been out for years. A lot of people have already paid for it. It's got a ton of tracks, a ton of DLC. It's, of course, ACC. For modability, we have the original Assetto Corsa. Nothing will ever surpass original AC, ever, in my opinion. But we have also AC2 coming out, which, according to Kunos, is a genuine sequel to Assetto Corsa. It'll be fully moddable on their own custom engine. They're not using Unreal Engine anymore. It's just, I don't know. Every single thing that this sim has going for it has something already out that people have paid for and enjoy, or coming out that will, in all honesty, probably be done a bit better. And that is just kind of sad, honestly. If this game had come out 3 or 4 years ago, I think we would be still talking about it. I think it would be a pretty big game, especially if this came out with the physics that it does when ACC was kind of floundering around in, 2018, 2019. I think this game would still be very much alive and talked about all these years later, but coming out right now where we already have the GT3 Titan of ACC, we still have the modding Titan of Assetto Corsa, and we have a potentially incoming future modding Titan known as Assetto Corsa 2, at least right now. I don't know, man. It's going to be very hard for Rennsport to carve out its piece of the pie in the sim racing marketplace. I really hope it does. The Rennsport team, they seem nothing but enthusiastic, nothing but excited. Seem like a great group of people. And this game, for the time I've played with it, the limited content I have to play, it feels very good, and I've done nothing but enjoy it. All I can do is hot lap like I'm doing in these videos right now, but I've still enjoyed doing it. And I want this game to succeed, but I think it's just going to be very hard for Rennsport to find its spot, because, man, there are so many huge sim racing games coming out in the next year, 2 years, so I don't know. That's my takes on Rennsport. If you've tried Rennsport out, tell me what your thoughts are on it in the description below. If you're still waiting for that closed beta key, tell me if you're excited to play Rennsport. Tell me if you care about Rennsport, which I'm sure if you've watched this whole video, you probably do care a little bit about it at least. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you did enjoy this video, a like and a sub would mean a lot. And I'll see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.